next game between WeForm Volta and Quebec United Legions. Let's hand it to the booth.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is Yintan here with another commentator whose name I've kind of forgotten. There we go. We're coming to you live from the middle of this match, practically, with V0LTA going up against Quebec United Legions, and you can see here E-War already being applied to everyone. This is getting in nice and heavy to start with. Volta bringing that AT-12 throwback comp with the new addition of those mowers. And what have Quebec brought?
So Quebec have got an interesting composition, a lot of kitey stuff, Orthoruses, Cerberuses. They're going to need to keep their range from these guys, not let these Simmies, these mowers get on top of them, because these mowers are blaster fit and ready to roll. Volta wasting no action here, getting in on the fight. We do see the Manticore dropping for WeForm Volta here, along with the Scalpel and Curse from Quebec United Legions. This is going to be a messy game here, Jintan.
Yeah, this is going to be a very, very messy thing. You can see there a Volta Manticore taking huge chunks, and the Cerberus from Quebec also taking, going there down there into low shield. He's only got one Scalpel left to keep him alive. This is a hugely messy opening trade for both teams, but I think Quebec has come off worse. They've only managed to kill 2 teams, and they are entering a reload cycle in both their Serbs and their Orthoruses, leaving them with just the Myrmidon and pretty much nothing else for damage, whereas WeForm Volta are just pounding them into the ground here, killing the other Scalpel with ease.
Absolutely, not giving those Scalpels any room to breathe or get those Cerberuses back up. We do see them trying to bring the Cerberus, but it does go down. Yeah, it's an absolute brawl here. Volta do have the better position here. I do think they're starting to chip into the Curse. The Curse has been scrambled at this point. Now has been a web on it. Goes immediately through armor, through hull, and it is gone off the field. This is looking very, very hard. Volta at this point need to start working on those Orthoruses. We do see webs and scrams coming down on both of them right now. Maybe some split damage here, but they will switch to one of them very soon. Quebec have got to think of something, and fast. They need to pull distance.
Yeah, that's going to be very difficult from Quebec at this point. They've lost the main point of this RLML all-in set, which is to kill that Scimitar and any frigates within the first reload. They haven't been able to do that. They've killed 2 Manticores, they've reduced Volta's D by a lot, but it's not enough. You can just see how much damage is still being applied to Quebec, and now they have no sustain to keep them alive through it. Those Orthoruses are burning through ASB charges, and they aren't going to hold for much longer after that.
No, they will not. And we do see the Ortherus dropping now into armor, the place you do not want to be in an Ortherus, and he will go down extremely fast. And there he is. He's gone. We do have Sotha in the other Ortherus now. He is going to be panicking. He wants to gather some distance, but you can already see tons of acolytes on him, just webbing him down and making sure he doesn't get anywhere. He as well falls into armor, on into hull, and he is gone. Now we're only left with the 2 Myrmidons and the Cerberus, but there's just not enough. They do not have enough DPS to damage this Scimitar. They've been trying for ages, but cannot get any real damage application on him, and from here on it's just chipping away at those 3 last ships.
Yeah, Quebec United Legions here, taking a page out of TNT's book and just anchoring up during the AT. Never a good thing to see as a commentator, because you know the team that's anchoring is probably going to lose. And Volta here just cleaning them up, making short work of another mid-card team. We've seen them go through a lot stronger already this tournament, and they're going to keep going. Volta here looking like easily top 8 competitors, perhaps even contenders for the title at this point.
Yeah, this is not their first rodeo. They are veterans at this point, and there it goes. The Myrmidon of the Corrupted is fallen as well, and Volta will secure the victory.
And with that, let's send it back to the studio for a breakdown of this rather quick match, over and under 4 minutes.
is a union of powerful mega-corporations. Have brought its people both misery and triumph.
Hey guys, welcome back. After that match between Volta and Quebec United Legions, Ithaca is a very, very happy man. Why don't you tell us a little bit about how that match went for you guys?
Oh, it went absolutely spectacularly. I don't think it could have gone any better. We actually sacrificed those manticores deliberately, just to we don't want to throw them a bone, give them a few points. But that was, of course, planned from the get-go to just throw those manticores away. No problem, in the garbage. We don't need them. We will win handily.
To lull them into a false sense of security.
Exactly.
Get them relaxed, hands off the keyboard, and then you really get them.
Exactly.
Right, we are joined by one of the most important men of the entire production. It is Mr. Biohazard. You have been a streamer for all the Eventy tournaments we've done, from the very, very beginning before you started up training your protege Equalizer, who we'll have on a little bit later. Firstly, I want to ask you, what do you actually do? What does streaming involve? Like, what's your actual job? Like, streamers kind of vague.
It's mostly a production kind of work. You're taking multiple inputs, anywhere from audio visual to web overlays, any number of things, and being able to mix it into a final product to be able to send it out to the stream.
Now, last year you were over in America, which is where you usually do your work over there, and your huge setup at home. But this year we've actually been able to fly you out. What's the difference of that like? Has it been much easier, kind of being on site and being able to talk to people?
Yes, absolutely. Last year, working from home and having everything in the studio sent to me overseas was quite a challenge. I had a Skype call with Bay RJ going, and he was essentially my Capcom for the entire studio here and running around like a madman. It's a little bit easier now having everybody on site where I can talk to people, have a little better information and better communication.
Have there been any stressful moments during the day? Has jet lag got you, or have there been any big tech failures that you've managed to hide? Down from here with the easy job in the studio where we just have to talk forever. It's been nice and smooth. How's it been upstairs?
Upstairs has been fairly smooth. Everything has gone through, all the setup went through okay. Probably the biggest problems was, as you said, the jet lag. When I came in, it would have been Friday. I hadn't slept since 6 a.m. Thursday, my time, and having to set up, 6 hours of setting up equipment to be able to set up the entire studio and a new setup at that was a difficult challenge.
Yeah, and then Ithaca as well. This is your first time here. You weren't with us last year. How have you found the whole experience between the analysis desk, between the casting booth, and then doing the host spot when I get to go on my little break?
Oh, it's been great fun. I've really enjoyed it coming down here, getting a chance to replace you for a couple of slots and do my own thing. One thing I found quite interesting is I actually have a wristband that monitors your heart rate, and I noticed that yesterday, according to that, I was in the fat burn zone for a full 8 hours. My heart rate was elevated pretty much most of the day, but it has been a spectacular experience. I really enjoyed it. So.
And we'll have to see another graph of that as we go further throughout the day. Now, there are a few things we of course need to plug here. We have to thank our sponsor, Chillblast, for giving us all the cool tech equipment for us to play with, enabling us to bring you the smooth and fantastic stream that Bio has been putting together with the other guys. We need to plug the 80 viewing party that's going to be going on in Nottingham here in the Antenna studio, so you can hang out with us in our breaks. That's August 5th and 6th, with the doors being open at 2 and then going through until the end of the day, and we'll probably have a little food afterwards as well, a bit of a hangout after each stream day. Then finally, I've got to plug Eventy London. That's going to be on the 18th of November, one of the oldest Eve player meets. A whole load of fun. I try to go as many years as I can. It's a really good meetup. I'm sure I'll see maybe you there, Ithaca, if you can get the time off work. And a whole load of people you've seen on the cast today as well. Still, we now must continue and move ever onwards. It is 1/2 the hour, which means we have 10 minutes to go until the next match today. It's going to be a Band Apart versus Hard Knocks Citizens. Now, Band Apart headed up by Rick Stravex, Losec Pirate Group, and then Hard Knock Citizens, a team who came in, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, and there was a lot of hype surrounding them. A lot of people saying, oh, they're going to be the next Camel Empire. I mean, they came in, they did well, certainly, but they weren't, the new best team by any means. So I think this is going to be a pretty good match, as Band Apart did, for example, get top 16 last year. What are your thoughts on this matchup, Ithaca?
I mean, A Band Apart, we actually were practice partners in my old corporation, or in Alliance Tournament 13. The Bastards and A Band Apart practiced a lot together. And I think then, if I'm not mistaken, they went 0-2. So it's really good to see that they've kept at it and they've improved. And like you say, going top 16 last year is a great performance. And I hope we see something similar at this time. Hard Knocks, obviously very experienced wormhole group. They've definitely got the skill, the theorycraft and knowledge to go far. So this could be one of these matches where I'd say neither team are sort of top 4, top 8 quality, but they're both very even Stevens, level pegging essentially. So I think those are always the matches to watch. A good team versus a bad team is sometimes a bit boring. 2 bad teams or 2 good teams or 2 middle of the road teams against each other, nice and even. Those are going to be the really exciting matches.
Absolutely. We have yet another graph coming through here. We have a graph of long-range tackle ships. So these ones like the Hyena, like the Valgorn, those with bonuses to their range. Very popular ships, very valuable ships in the AT. We have the Hyena, obviously is the most picked. Looks like it's about 28 picks there, winning maybe 16, 17 times there. So very, very solid ship. The Valgorn, obviously classic AT ship. The Hugin, picked a good number of times here, typically considered not very strong. However, the stats do not back that up. The Hugin's been doing very well with a very reasonable pick to win ratio. Follow that by the Orthrus, which obviously has the bonus 2 point and scram range. That's less impactful on its use as an AT ship, as the extra scram range isn't enough to get your Orthrus to go 13 kilometers from the opposing team. You don't really want to do that. Then the Cruor, if you pick the Cruor, apparently you're guaranteed to win. And then the Rapier and the Loki being absolute losses thus far, although of course the further down the graph we go, the less data points we have. Now, if we can briefly return to you, Bai, I wanted to ask, for those who are interested in getting involved in streaming, those who think, oh, I'm maybe not an on-camera person, but I really enjoy doing editing, doing tech, doing streaming stuff. Maybe they've got a big old fancy gaming PC at home. What's the best way to get into helping stream tournament events? Are we looking for people, or is there any way they can kind of show they've got what it takes?
There's a lot of groups that are doing their own tournaments, some on the Thunderdome server, some that are doing it on Tranquility within their own maybe small corporation or alliance. Obviously, CCP has been great supporting the tournament scene with Thunderdome and being able to give us the tools to the fancy UI and things like that. So if you're ever looking at doing your own stream, there's Open Broadcaster software, which is what I primarily use, is a great free application to be able to get your foot in the door and learn some of the things on how to stream and that kind of thing. And then obviously if you want to run your own tournament and stuff like that, you can contact CCP, see if you can get into Thunderdome, or even when we first started, we were doing first tournament I did was an RVB on Tranquility, an RVB tournament, and provided a lot of unique challenges in doing that. But there's a lot of technical hurdles, but a lot of those have been ironed out over time.
So one of the things I'm sure people will be interested here is what has to happen to get from our faces here on the desk to people's computer screens at home? What's our current setup? I've heard the word TriCaster being said, and possibly some expletives said before as well. So how do we get from these cameras in front of us to people's living rooms and bedrooms at home?
Thankfully, we have the use of the studio here, which is, has the camera setups as everybody can see or see through us. Which actually runs to the TriCaster upstairs, and it's every bit you would imagine of a full mixing studio, audiovisual mixing studio.
And what is a TriCaster?
It's a large box with a bunch of buttons. And it can handle a wide variety of input. We have obviously the cameras. We have a PC connected to it, which is how the stats and graphs, movie files, anything like that, any type of graphics that you'd be able to put in there. From there, we're actually sending it over to a PC, which is running the clients that you see for the actual matches. And then on that PC, we use Open Broadcaster to mix the final product and then send it out to Twitch.
Fantastic. So it is worth mentioning, as Abayo did, the graphs and the replay tool specifically we've been throwing up. That replay tool is in fact publicly available. It's been up for a while now. It's available on the Eventia website. You can find it by going through the tournament tabs. It's down there somewhere, where you can rewatch all of the matches that have been going on today and a lot of past tournaments as well. I think we go all the way back to 8010 even. If you go there, pick down the tournament you want, pick the match you want. It takes a few seconds to load up, and then you can have your own control view as if you were as if you had, you know, the commentating tools that we're used to having, being in an OPIX luxury yacht in the middle of the arena. You can move the camera around. We've got the full tactical camera overlay. You can fast forward, rewind, pick specific points of matches to rewatch things. It's an absolutely fantastic tool. I'm sure you've loved the instant replay we've had going on here, but you can have that from the comfort of your own home, looking at whatever matches you want, whenever you want, 24/7, as long as our site doesn't crash with now all the people rushing to get involved. So we have 5 minutes before the next cast. So Baya, I want to kind of pick your brains a little bit more as we've got you here. What would you say the main difference between streaming from a home setup and streaming from a big studio like this is? Is it a lot more fun here? Is it a lot easier? Or is it kind of stressful having so many more toys to keep track of?
No, I actually find the setup I'm using here is very similar to the setup I have at home, but the lines of communication that I have here is much better than dealing with it across 4,000 miles. So being able to turn and say, hey, Bay, I need this, or Equalizer, who's been feeding into the TriCaster, hey, let's get this set up. Having that line of communication has helped tremendously. It's much easier over here.
I can certainly back that up. I have a man called Jake currently living in my area. He's lived in my area for the past 2 days, and he's a massive help, a great communicator. He just tells me when things come through. Occasionally he trolls me about graphs, but I'm not sure if that's his fault or Equalizer's fault. I'm going to ask him when we get him on the desk after the next thing. I'm being told it's not Jake. Okay, so Jake is God. Jake is perfect. He cannot make mistakes. At least that's what I'm being told by Jake. Okay, so we are now very close to our match between the Band Apart and Hard Knock Citizens. Bio, have you had any particular favourite moments there? I don't know how much of the matches you've been able to watch, given that you're focusing on the streaming stuff, but you have any favourite moments, any favourite points that's been going on?
I believe it was the Shadow Cartel snuffed out, where they lost the flagship Balgorn to the Galente Blaster team,
Yes.
right at 0. That was, as soon as I saw that, I knew it was dead, and I was looking forward to it.
I believe there have been some Reddit memes that we can't really repeat on air, but if you go to reddit.com/r/Eve, you will certainly see some pictures involved of that ship going down. So as we get close to the match, we must do our predictions. Ithaca, what's your prediction for A Band Apart versus Hard Knock Citizens?
This is a really difficult one. I know either way I go, I'm going to get some shade from one or the other. But I think I'm going to have to give this one to Hard Knocks. I think they might just be trying a lot harder this year, and they can probably do it.
Bio, do you have any picks for this?
I am a low-sec PvPer at heart, so I'm going to go with ABA.
I think I'm going to go with ABA as well, because if I don't pick them and they win, Rix will never let me hear the end of it. He's already been ribbing me on Twitter for weeks and months in the lead up to the tournament, saying that I should believe in his team more. So Rix, you better win, because I'm believing in you now. You know, all my hopes of pride are now riding on ABA's victory in this match. We only have 2 minutes left, so let's have a little look at what the audience thinks if we've got this up. Apparently we don't. Never mind. So let's not look at that then. Let's have a little look at what these teams brought in their first match of the day. So we just saw that one. Okay, great. So we had A Band Apart bring a drone team. They brought Eos, Aneris, Hugin, double Ishtar, Myrmidon, double Blackbird, double Vexer. So they got Hugin there for long-range rebs. Again, we typically don't say that those recons are very on, but as we saw from the graph earlier, the Hugin actually has a pretty good win rate thus far. I'm sure ABA were contributing to that, obviously. Mixed in some ECM in their drone team as well with that double Blackbird. And then on the other side for Hard Knock Citizens, they brought their own drone team with double Eos and Neros, double Ishtar, Vexer, Navy issue, double Hyena instead of the Blackbirds for a bit more web, a little bit more control of the opposing ships to get those drones on them rather than more defensive ECM. And then they had a Vengeance and a Punisher to round out the bottom of their points. Ithaca, what do you think of these two teams? Any little any ship choice decisions that you like? Anything that are a bit dodgy?
I personally prefer the Hyenas over the Hugins. I think they show that if you can execute it, you have a high level of skill. Perhaps it's a bit easier to keep the Hugin alive, but the mobility of the two Hyenas is very powerful. So the fact that ABA bringing the Hugin, perhaps maybe they're a little bit less confident, whereas Hard Knock's very happy to bring two Hyenas, which can be killed if they're not careful. So they're confident in their piloting.
So let's send it off to the casters in the booth. Buyers, switch us to the matches. Go, go. Run, 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 go.
Who's doing it?
Go.
Who's doing it?
Ready?
Welcome back to our next